Hi all. So this video will serve as the instructions for your final project, which is a final template. So just to revisit, so this is the spreadsheet that everybody filled out. Remember we had the first assignment was filling this out. Then you were to revamp it based on your team. So again, your teams were assigned a city by the last name. So you're supposed to get input from your team to then update your chart. So we had the first part, the second part, and the third part. So this final project should be relatively easy if you did this well over the course of the semester. And yeah, and I would like to add that if you got full credit for these, it was not that it was solely a completion exercise, but for the final project, you will be scrutinized more in what your answers are and what the sources are that you use. And I'll show you more about that. But just to revisit this, because you haven't seen it in a while. So this is what you had to fill out for your project over a 3-week period. So we're going to shut that down just to make it cancel. Okay, so we're not going to look at that one right now. Okay, so here is your final project template. And you'll see it set up a little bit differently because we have right here, we have classmates. So these classmates will be your team members. And what you will do for this assignment is you will pick for each classmate. So you'll start with yourself here. So me. You'll start with yourself there. So whoever's, if this is Tim's project, then Tim will put his name here. And you'll pick your top 2 events. So what were the things that you said would be the top 2 events in this area? Now, what are the top 2 events? We're going to go here really fast. Again, don't get too bogged down yet. So this was Stephanie, and she had Denver. Now, again, don't go by this as in this is the right answer and all of these are right, because this is just an example that I use. Okay, so these are some events that Stephanie had said would be events in Denver. So what are her top 2? So we go over here. The top 2 would be, so the first one would be hail. So this is one event. So you would go in here and you'd copy this, copy that tab, and you'd go on and put that as one of the events. So there, that would go right there. So then we'd go back to Stephanie, who is me. What is the next top event? So we have 3 that are at 72. So here I'd say you can just pick one. I'm glad we had this example here. I'm going to go with, tornado, high wind. Okay, so if something like high wind, well, yes, it's a high probability. We want to go with the most, probably have the most severe effect. So we're going to go with tornado here. So again, you go in here and you copy, and then you paste this here. Okay, so now you have the top 2 events that me, Stephanie, or Tim I was using before, had. Now, so again, this is your blank template. But what you're going to do down here, and this is why this video, you might have to watch it a few times, you're going to add every person's spreadsheet that was in your team. So how do we do that? So again, I'm using an example here to make this easier. So you see, for this one, Stephanie Page, this was her assignment. Well, actually, this is play on fictitious. I changed this up based on what she turned in so I could make it more applicable for an example. But here are the teammates. So Carter, Glenda, Andy, Melanie. Obviously, you see some did better than others. Again, this is for the example. Now, how do you copy everyone's page? So again, when you get the final project template, this is going to be the only page you get, this blank template. So you would go to sheet, move the sheet there, and let's say we want to now copy Carter's. So you go to Carter's spreadsheet. So this is where you're going to have to download all of your teammates. I put it in a nice little folder on your desktop. But there's this right here. You see that? So there's going to be, let's click out of it. There's going to be some arrow right here in the corner that you click on. This will copy the entire sheet. So one more time. This arrow right here, copy it, and then you can right click and copy. And then what we'll do here, that same arrow, and you'll hit paste. And I'm not really sure why that's showing up that way. I don't know how familiar you guys with that, but that's simply, so let me show you what happened there. This is simply a little paint bucket up here. you can change all the sheets. So all I did was click the button, copy everything, and put it back to white. Okay, let's see. And then down here, when you change their name, so this was Carter. Again, the right click, rename Carter. So how would we put in another one? You add sheet, there's a little plus button down here, and let's go on and do a few for the classmates. And if you see, we're going to do Glenda next. Same thing here. Let's change this to Glenda. Let's go here. We're not in Glenda. We have Glenda here. Let's see if this does different colors. Again, we click that. We're going to copy it. And then we're going to do the same right here. Don't know why that's happening, but it might not happen with you. Again, I don't know how savvy you guys are with Excel, but something like this, like for me, I think that's too packed up against that, so I'd like to just insert a column. I don't know why that's formatted like that. And then probably make it so I can see it a bit better. 110. Okay. And then, there's lots of things that you can do to kind of change the formatting, although I'm not going to hold you guys to that exactly. But then, same thing for, we go back to the blank template. You then put the top 2 events in for Carter, for Glenda, everyone else on your team. Okay. So that's what would go here. So then, and this is where, so this is kind of the stuff to get you started for the assignment. Let me see right here. I need to populate this cell, so I will, that final total risk score. Actually, I'm going to pause this and see if I can do that really quick. Hey, y'all. Okay, I did fix it. I just ended up taking out that column because it was not needed and it was making things a bit more confusing. So essentially, once you have all of your classmates, including yourselves, top 2 events, the risk of the events. What you're going for is the risk of the event. So you're going to then look and see what you came up with, what your classmates came up with, and then you're going to come up with a final answer. So what that means is now you have, again, all in one place, and you're going to have all your teammates' sheets in here. You're going to look and tell me what you think the top events are. So the top 2 events, so then you'd go down here. So you'd say if you think that you were correct and that hail was a top event, you would put that down here. So, and then you do the next event. So the top likely event, risk event here, and then the next one here. So this box 1, this justification for your answer, you're going to justify to me why you chose the final answer. So you might not agree with yourself. Once you get here, maybe you didn't spend as much time as you wanted to, or you did for the assignment, or maybe other people's made more sense once you had everything together, and maybe you looked at a couple more sites and realized that you should change things. Or after you get down here and answer the other questions, you'll see that your final answer would change. So in some cases, this justification for your final answer might be the last thing you do. So again, get all your data in here and all your charts. Then, again, so this box is going to be for, and please perhaps do this in a Word document before and then copy paste into here to avoid kind of grammatical and spelling errors. Okay, so question 2, top 3 sources for information used in the chart. So this means that once you come up with looking at, and you'll have everyone's, a good thing to mention here is you're using their final, so this will be the final project that they submitted. So this will be the 3rd week's project, because this is the only place that they'll have all 3 filled in. So you'll go back and you'll review, and what sources do you think should be used for the information in this chart? So I'll give you some hints here. Is you shouldn't have any .coms necessarily, not associated with local news, or really you should have some. One of them that everyone should have is the local emergency management website that your city falls under, because this is where you would get all of the information that for past events, things that the city locality is worried about. That would all be on the emergency manager's website. So everyone should have this as a top source that they use, and if they didn't use it, they should use it before submitting this final project. So there's also an example of what you could have gotten away with, and I don't mean gotten away with, but I wouldn't have counted off for you using, like, perhaps some websites that I wouldn't think would be stellar for this. But now this does count. So the quality of your information that you provide me in this final project is going to count. So top 3 sources that you used, I want you to put something like, and you won't see this in the example, this is why you really want to look at this. So city emergency management department, then give me the link. Local news station. Well, obviously I'm doing a poor job of giving the example here, and then give me the link. Also, let's go on and make all of these. So that is what you want to do there. Then what I want here is, so if indeed you are correct and these are the top 2 events for your area, you're at the highest risk, there's going to be news articles written about some of the bigger events in these and the fatalities they caused. Let's go to too morbid, some of the injuries or disruption to the area that it caused. And you are to give me the links, the title, and then links to the article here. Then you're going to tell me, so you have 3 of these, and you're going to tell me what you found in the news articles. You do this for 3 news articles, and then essentially, you guys, that is your assignment. So do this well, and really take your time to do it. I'm happy to look at any assignments that you have. So yeah, so I think it is a pretty interesting, it's very applicable. It's kind of one of the situations where you would be gathering information from like your peers in the workplace, and then you'd be putting it all together, and then you'd be analyzing what did everybody get and how does that fall for you. I believe I carried or covered everything, but if I did not, please feel free to email me. I will be also, dropping a final assignment, so probably everyone's lowest grade, so be on the lookout for that as well. And then because because I care more about improvement in the course than specific grades, if you didn't have a great first start, but then you dramatically improved, and that improvement was shown on this, let's say, for example, one of the ways that improvement was showed on this final project, your grade will tend to be on your higher average. So just so you know, if you don't have a stellar average and you're not happy about it because school is stressful and life is stressful sometimes, like I totally understand, but put your effort in for this final project. Really take your time doing it. And then email me after you feel really good about the project, and let's have some discourse about the semester and, your expectations for the course in terms of your how you did, and then we can discuss kind of where that grade's going to fall and what that means. Okay, you guys, I hope you're hanging in there for the final few weeks of class, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye-bye.